We have a race on in the United States, and it's a race that would have been very familiar to Peter Drucker, and that is it's a race between economic and technology change and the ability of the education system to catch up. And while the education system has run faster and faster, contrary to a lot of its critics, I mean, education's a lot better now than it was 40 years ago, and more people participate in it. We've quadrupled the number of people who go on to post-secondary education since the 1970s. So the system's running fast, but economic and technological change is running faster. As a result, there is a fundamental mismatch between the share of Americans who have knowledge, skills, and abilities sufficient to match with the jobs that are growing and provide a middle-class wage, and that's essentially the problem. In addition to that, it gets beyond how we prepare people, because a lot of the mismatch now, that is, our whole education system is front-loaded. You basically get your human capital, or at least formally, in the education and training system by the time you're 25 or so, and you then lurch into the world of work, and it's up to you to keep up after that. We really have no adult education system in America except for what goes on in the workplace, and that is a huge system, at least as large, and if you include informal learning on the job, it's much larger than the post-secondary education system. But that training is more and more only accessible to people who already have high levels of education. In the old days, you start on the loading dock and end up being the accountant or the person who kept the books for the company. And you could move on through a variety of managerial roles, and you could end up responsible for sales and marketing. Then you could move to CEO. The problem is that that's no longer possible because access to jobs in America is now driven by occupation, not by industry. So you can start on the loading dock, but you can't move to supervisor without supervisory training, or probably some sort of AA degree in materials management or warehousing, etc. So that it's very hard to go from loading the truck to being the one that schedules the trucks and figures out how you're going to move contractors who provide intermediate goods to make your final product. So there is a problem now in that if you don't have the education going in, you won't get the learning on the job.